It is opening day 2012, and a pleasure for us to welcome in the Orioles Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations, Dan Duquette. And Dan, yesterday at the Welcome Home Luncheon, we heard Buck Showalter talk about opening day. We heard the players talk about opening day. What is it like for the executive of the club that spent all winter getting these guys into the organization? What is today like for you?
Well, today's a proving day, right? And we get a chance to have hope and then to see all the new players we have on the team and hopefully get to know them in a good way.
Yeah, a lot of turnover since you came on in November. On the position side of things, some subtle changes, but it looks to me like you targeted specific positions, and not only did you get those players in, you improved your depth and versatility.
Well, we did a couple things. We tried to strengthen the pitching staff to get more depth, and that's what we did when we brought in Wei-Ying Chen and Wada and made the trade for Guthrie for Hamill, and then we also got Lindstrom for the bullpen. For the lineup, I tried to bring in three veteran players, Wilson Betterman, Andy Chavez, and Nick Johnson. And I wanted them to teach our younger guys how to be patient at the plate, how to take a pitch. And then I wanted more guys on base so that when Wieters and Jones and Reynolds and Hardy hit a home run, we could leverage those home runs for more run production. And so that's what we did by bringing in Flaherty, Chavez, Betterment, and Johnson. They're all good on-base guys.
We hear baseball people talk all the time about being patient at the plate, and there's always that line, well, are you aggressively patient or patiently aggressive, depending on your attitude there. How do players, simply by watching, how does that rub off on them to try to work the count and work the pitcher?
Well, for example, when our guys watch Nick Johnson and he lets the 1-1 pitch go by, and now he's in a hitting count 2-1, they know that he's in a much stronger position to make a play and get a pitch that he's interested in. And I think that that example of that, of getting a good pitch to hit, leads to better on-base percentage and more run production because you can hit for more power when you're in a hitter's count. And I think that these guys that we brought in will help Adam Jones, Matt Wieters, who are at the learning stage of their career.
And the other thing with your bench, the bench is clearly superior to opening day last year, but just looking at the bench today, you have Nick Johnson, he can DH or play first base. Wilson Betterman plays all over the field, and he's a switch hitter. Chavez plays everywhere in the outfield. And Ryan Flaherty, I don't know if he was an outfielder when he got to spring training. He was an infielder, but he also plays the outfield now. It gives Buck Showalter a tremendous amount of versatility as he navigates through a game.
Well, Buck wanted more versatility. He didn't want to be tied to one DH like he had last year with Guerrero. And, you know, it's interesting, the bench actually has more at-bats than any one player, and that was an area that I thought we could put focus on and improve right away. And I think these guys coming in, they can help us offensively, but they can also help us in the field defensively to give us a chance to get the outs we need.
Now, you talked about the improvements made to the starting rotation. Let's focus on the bullpen for a moment because there's only two holdovers from last year's bullpen on opening day, and that's Kevin Gregg and Jim Johnson. What were some of the things you were looking for with some of these names that came in and made the team?
Well, you know, Ayala is a guy that can get out righties and lefties, and he's done that well over his career. O'Day is a sidewinder, very good career ERA. He gets out righties and lefties again. And Patton is not a left-handed specialist. He can get out lefties and righties. What I really like about the pen is we got Johnson can throw 95. We got Pedro Strop who can throw 95. He's got a power arm. And Lindstrom, who we brought in from Colorado, he has experienced saving games and he can throw hard too. But I like the manager having the power at the end where he can come in and shut down the other team, and that's what we've got with those last three guys in our bullpen.
And the other part of this equation is the starting staff, and you preach this all offseason. We heard Buck Showalter preach it all during spring training. They have to take the accountability of getting deeper in games so the bullpen can be fresh and efficient as the days and weeks turn into months.
Well, I mean, let's face it all starts with starting pitching. If we've got some starting pitchers that can pitch 200 innings and be dependable for the team, we're going to have a good year. And I think we do have some good dependable starters. Arrieta's at this stage of his career. Brian Mattis wants to be a dependable starter. Chen. Hamels, I think, will be a stabilizer for our ball club. And then we still have Zach Britton and Wada down in Florida. And I think we're going to have a much improved starting pitching staff this year, which will give us a foundation to have a good season.
We've all enjoyed Ryan Flaherty, watching him go through spring training, not knowing if he was going to make it, not knowing if he would have to be offered back to the Chicago Cubs. He went out and earned the spot. What was it with Flaherty, who was a minor leaguer with the Cubs? What was it that the scouts saw that you felt that was a guy worth picking up?
Well, Flaherty was the #1 pick out of Vanderbilt, and he was a shortstop, right? So Earl Weaver says, draft those shortstops, then we'll figure out where to play them. Well, that's what we're doing with Flaherty. But the other thing about Flaherty is Flaherty had 54 extra base hits last year between AA and AAA. So we got a middle infielder that can play a couple of different positions, but he can also hit for power, and he's a left-handed hitter. So that's what we like about him. He's done very well. Buck's moved him around. He's got an opportunity to be a super sub like Andino was a year ago, and I think he adds good balance to the team.
Well, you really did a tremendous job coming in November, really not knowing the roster except from afar, but really this team looks to be tremendously deeper, more versatile, and a lot more talented than opening day from last year. So congratulations and best of luck to a real successful season.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be out here, and I hope the fans see a much better pitching staff this year.
You didn't get the tuxedo memo.
No,
it's opening day in Baltimore.
I'll have that in the future.
Okay, that's Dan Duquette, the Orioles' Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations on opening day 2012.